What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tsunami Speaks with your host, Tsunami Jones. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, run, tell a friend if you haven't already. That's the way we'll grow this channel going forward. I need your help. I'm trying to win this race to the first 100 subscribers so I can beat Jarrell at Die Hard Giants Live. Shout out to Jarrell as always there. And I appreciate you guys for anything you do. So, finally, I am making my Tsunami Speaks Knicks edition for you guys. I know we've been waiting on some Knicks content from me, and I definitely wanted to give you a quick video before starting training camp and media day actually get here next week. I thought I would kind of start off with a quick story about how I actually became a Knicks fan, because I know it's kind of different depending on your background. I'm from New York originally, so my dad is a giant Knicks fan. One of my earliest memories of the Knicks and just my dad in general was dad watching the 90s Knicks, and we were taking on Reggie Miller back when he was he thought he was the king of New York for some damn reason. That said, I remember dad yelling and screaming at the TV and things not going so well. So I kind of took that moment, was like, I don't want to be a fan of a team that makes my father feel like that. Why would I do that to myself? So again, he's been a fan since the Clyde Frazier days. So he saw the Knicks win um, the championship, but hasn't seen too much since then. But still, diehard Knicks fan. That said, fast forwarding a bit to me, I actually fell in love with college basketball pretty early on and fell in love with Carmelo Anthony. Thought he was awesome. I loved watching him play with Syracuse. That's why I wore this jersey today. And when we won the national championship, it was the first time I saw, a championship game and someone actually win that I was supporting. It was wild. Anyway, that said, I followed Mel to the NBA and I became a Denver Nuggets fan. It's pretty loyal to him. And then, of course, he decided about midway through there that he was going to be traded and he wanted to go to the New York Knicks. It was very weird for me because I was like, I don't want to. I don't know how I feel about it. Dad's always mad at the Knicks, but I had to follow my guy. So I've been a New York Knicks fan ever since, and have also been yelling and screaming at the TV at times and also clapping at times. So it's been a wild ride, but let's go Knicks. All that being said, um, after that happened, I've just, like I said, I've just been kind of not dealing with, riding and dying with the New York Knicks. And I still like the direction of this team. Probably the first time I've been excited about a Knicks team. For a long time. And I have some faith in the front office that not everybody feels. I do skew a little positive. So those who haven't seen me on Dope Soul Sports Talk, shout out to, of course, Queen Steph for having me on there. So forever grateful to her for that. But that said, ever since I've been on there, people probably know me as the person who speaks positive about it. Sorry, I just skew positive when it comes to my sports teams. Rather not be angry all the time. But I do call it like I see it. So, like I mentioned earlier, I will yell at the TV. I will yell at the players. They just can't hear me in my living room. Anyway, here's some of the reasons I'm excited going into this season. The first reason is Jalen Brunson. This was an acquisition that was kind of deemed insignificant from the national media. But those in the local media, the New York media, they gave some positivity towards it. And anyone that actually watched Jalen Brunson, whether it was in the playoffs last year or just in the regular season, you kind of you came away impressed watching him. His footwork, his jump shot, and just overall toughness. You need a guy like that at the point guard position. So I was a little excited going into it, and then kind of after going back and watching some film of him and just seeing his overall game. He's the kind of point guard the New York Knicks have needed for a long time, and I'm excited that we got someone like that. And just for some perspective for some people here, his salary is the 14th highest in the NBA for point guards. So for perspective, he's below Kyle Lowry's salary and above Mike Conley and Malcolm Brogdon's salary. So he's sandwiched between those three basically. And I would say that's a pretty solid salary thinking about that. He's not getting what Ja Morant's going to get next year. He's not getting what Steph Curry or Dame Lillard are getting. Nowhere near that. So basically puts him right in the middle. So think those who were, a little hard on him about his salary and say we overpaid. No, we didn't. We didn't overpay. He's better than Malcolm Brogdon and makes just a little bit more than him right now. So, anyway, all that said, that's not a bad place for him to be. His 2021 stats were fantastic. He averaged 16 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists a game, all on 50% field goal shooting, 37% on 3-point shooting. His efficiency is something that this team needs more than anything, alongside the leadership I mentioned, the toughness, the footwork in the paint, and just overall just toughness, in general. I can't wait to see what that looks like in a New York uniform, and just a guy who wants to be here. That's something we haven't had, since Melo, honestly. I think the other people that we've signed recently, they wanted to be here, but they weren't really excited. I feel like Jalen is legitimately excited to and welcomes the challenge of New York and knows what he's going to be dealing with, considering his father played here. He grew up with the Latrell Sprewells and the Allen Houstons. That's pretty unique and it's exciting. And of course, I could have started with him because he's my favorite player, but my number 2 reason I'm excited for this season is RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett, aka Star J Barrett. So yeah, I'm excited to see my boy ball out this year. I think he finally got his bag financially. We all know that, and it was a team friendly bag. He's the 10th highest paid overall at the small forward position, with getting paid 23.8 million a year. Well, to start effective next year, because that contract doesn't go into effect until the following season. So he's getting a little bit more than Mikal Bridges. And he's also, and I believe he's underneath. Oh, he's getting paid more than Mikal and OG Anunoby, respectfully. And he's making less than Michael Porter and Gordon Hayward. We all know Hayward's a little overpaid, but you get the point. Those two are making more than him. So I think he's in a pretty good spot financially. He's not overpaid, especially when you compare those players to him. Um, that said, his efficiency took a dip last year, even though he averaged more points due to the volume and the more difficulty and the increased difficulty of the shots. And maybe not the best shot selection. I can at least admit that. He had 40%, he averaged 40% field goal shooting, 34% from 3, 71% free throw shooting. Overall stats, 20 points per game, 5 boards, 3 assists. If you've been listening to any of his recent interviews, because there's been a few now, he appears to be prioritizing his free throw shooting. He's working on shots off the dribble and working on finishing at the basket. Those are things that he'll need to make that all-star jump. I think we're going to see it this year. 4 players who made the all-star team in their 4th season with DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, they all made their jump in year 4. And just for perspective, in year 3, all 3 of those players averaged 17 points or less and averaged 42% field goal shooting or less. Butler averaged 28% from 3 that year. And then Paul George averaged 36%. And Butler, I have listed twice here. I think the first player I meant was DeRozan, was 28. So DeRozan's 28, Paul George 36, and then Butler 26% from 3. So if you look at those numbers and compare them to RJ is right on track. I think we're going to see an improvement, especially in those videos. I'll admit, I'm a little prisoner of the moment here. He's increased his bag, guys. His bag looks good. He's already got the step back. I mean, we need to see it in a game, obviously. It's a lot easier to hit those shots in an open gym. But just seeing that those are the shots that he's working on, and if he can increase his free throw shooting, which he seems pretty adamant that he's going to get fixed per the last interview that he had with CP, I'm impressed and I'm excited. I am pumped. I think he knows the challenge that he, is walking into being a New York Knick and now being one of the highest paid on the team. And he welcomes that. He won in New York. He said, "Yo, I'm a Knick." Dude was hype. And knowing that, and I love seeing a player that has such a strong work ethic be one of our franchise players. There's nothing more exciting than that. The kid's 22, year 4. Let's go, RJ. This is your year. And I believe he's going to ball out. Um, so the third reason is probably one of the lightning rods in our fan base, and that's Cam Reddish. So again, if you've seen me on Dope Soul Sports Talk, you know I've have a ton of belief in the kid. He's a versatile defender, can score at all three levels. He's a solid playmaker once the ball is actually in his hands. He's a menace getting to the basket when he actually decides to go there. People just love to foul him. I don't know if it's because of his long strides or what it particularly is, but they get scared and he gets fouled there. Love it. Um, anyway, so we all know that the health thing is going to be the key component for him. And it's been the wild card ever since he's been in the NBA. And kind of giving you a little bit of a timeline on what he's kind of gone through. The year that he came into the NBA, even coming into the draft, he had an injury. He had a groin injury. So he got surgery that year, starting the season off. So he wasn't even healthy starting into training camp. Then he had ACL soreness. That was also the shortened season before the shortened season prior to the pandemic or during the pandemic, however you want to look at it. So he had the ACL soreness, and then after the ACL soreness, then he tore his ACL. That's something that's tough to come back from. So of course he missed a crap ton of games in that season. He ultimately ended up playing in the playoffs and helped Atlanta do pretty well coming off the bench for them. Then after that, he came he with the Hawks, he got another injury, he had an ankle injury, and then he was traded to us. And then after he started balling out a little bit for us, he had that really good game against the Clippers. Right after that, he gets hurt again with that shoulder injury. So when you kind of look at all those things, none of those injuries are really related to each other. They all seem kind of like freak accidents to me. We're not talking about knees here, other than the ACL. ACL, I mean, yeah. So that's one you could look at. Other than that, the groin, ankle, not really connected. So it worries me less than a player who keeps having chronic knee injuries or chronic foot injuries, like your Greg Odens and your Brandon Roys, unfortunately. That was a great player, Brandon Roy was. So anyway, so I'm hopeful. This is year 4 for him too. If he can just stay healthy and show and put on a show for all of us fans, or just even for the coach Tibbs to see his skill set is something we need. 6'9", 6'10", um, versatile defender, all those things I mentioned earlier, 3-level score. You need someone like that on your team. Um, anyway, so we're not, and then of course like that last injury, by the way, the shoulder joint. I mean, that was on a hustle play. It's just how effed up does your luck have to be to get that on a freaking hustle play? Anyway, my hope here is that he's found a way to strengthen his body some. I hope he's put on some muscle. If you kind of looked at all the Knicks in these workout videos and all that, all of them look bigger. RJ looks bigger. Haven't gotten enough clips of Cam to really say, definitively if he's put on any muscle, but I'm hoping with our training staff, which seemingly has been very helpful for that, I'm hoping he put on a little bit of muscle and maybe that'll just help him protect his body overall and he'll stop getting, you know, these freak injuries or just soft tissue injuries, stuff like that. So we'll see. But I am excited to watch that kid play. Hopefully we get a full 82 of him. Going on here, my next player I'm excited about is Immanuel Quickley. He showed massive improvement in the back half of the season last year. He showed a willingness to pass and improved vision. His shot selection may not have been the best, but ideally we'll see improvement coming soon. A lot of times young players have kind of meh or not so great shot selections coming into the league. Hopefully we can hone that down. But the fact that we've seen improvement there, I've seen improvement in his handle. Looks like he's using his left hand more or practicing using his left hand more in videos with those floaters. And one to my point earlier about talking about people putting on muscle, IQ might have put on the most muscle of the young players that I've seen so far. He looks big. Good for him. Because he did say that he wanted to do that going into the offseason to actually help him on defense, he mentioned. That's what more muscle will help with. So we'll see what he's able to do. But I love a player who has a work ethic like this, just like I was saying about RJ. Emmanuel Quickley wants it. So we're going to get the top, whatever his ceiling is, he's going to make sure he gets there. So hopefully we can find the playing time for this kid to continue to grow and you know, just improve. And maybe he can continue to be a closer because he was very helpful in in closing minutes. He's a great free throw shooter. Um, I'm excited to see what he brings this year. Quentin Grimes, Q dot. He has shown that he's a solid 3 and D player in the league, and we know how much those players are a premium in the NBA nowadays. He's got great defensive footwork, his awareness, his lateral quickness, and just that bulldog mentality on defense that you like to see. Um, then, of course, offensively, we like the great form on his jump shot, his quick release. He looks a lot like Allen Houston when he's shooting the ball. So that's something that is always great to see. Um, Hopefully, he can shoot like Allen. We'll see going forward, but we know that it's there. Um, the question with him is, can he do more than that? In summer league, we did see him, do a little bit more than that. We saw him put the ball on the floor more. We saw an improved handle. We saw some passing that we didn't know he was, talented in that area specifically, and just some playmaking overall. So, kind of having seen that, even though that again small sample size, obviously, and he was the go-to player on that summer league team. When with him not being the go-to player when he comes back to the Knicks, those shots will be easier for him. And maybe we'll be able to see those other pieces of his game, pieces of his bag, so to speak, doled out in small doses as he continues to improve on those aspects. He's another player that also looks like he's put on a bit of muscle too. I can't wait for media day so we can confirm all of that to make sure my eyes aren't just deceiving me. um, all right, and then we have Obi Toppin. I love the improvements we saw towards the end of the season with him as well. We saw willingness and confidence in his 3-point shots that we didn't see prior to that. It looked like he got very scared shooting the three early in the season last year. So it looks like he completely reversed course, got more confident starting hitting them. And then we saw small glimpses, small, of a mid-range shot and some off the dribble moves. We saw them more in April, so we didn't get a lot of it, but we still got some small doses, and that was pretty cool to see that he's able to do so. I think that might have been part of him just feeling overall way more confident in his game. Those hitting those 3-point shots, he was like, okay, I'm on the flow. I can do this now. I can do this guy. Let me take this guy. Hopefully, we'll get to see more of that because if those are staples of his game, look out NBA. But most importantly for him is him just hitting the 3-point shot consistently, excuse me. It just makes him harder to defend because you have to honor his drive. But if you have to honor that 3-point shot, damn, what do you choose at that point? And that'll also open up the paint for RJ and Brunson, etc., to drive to the rim. So love to see that. Hopefully we see more of that. And I'm also really excited about Trevor Keels. Okay. I'm kidding there. Had to throw that in there just for the funds. The S&G, so to speak here. But honestly, I could probably do a spotlight of every player because, like I said earlier, I skew a little bit positive. But I just wanted to show you the guys I'm super excited about. And I am even more pumped for training camp to see which of those players make the rotation and just what new pieces to their bag, what new items, whatever you want to call it. What are they doing now that they weren't doing last year? Are we seeing improvements on defense? Are we seeing improvements on their handle? What's the mentality going into training camp? And since we have such a crowded both backcourt and at the wing position, we're gonna have to see. We're definitely gonna see some battles there to see who starts. Is Tibbs gonna hold up his word that everyone's coming in with a blank slate? If that's true, maybe RJ starts. Not RJ. Wow. Just kidding. RJ will start. What I meant was maybe Cam starts. Maybe. That doesn't mean Fournier is not going to get minutes. Conversely, maybe Immanuel Quickley starts and shocks us all. I don't know. We really don't know what to really expect here. But we do know Brunson and RJ. And at this time, Randall and Mitch are going to be getting major minutes and they're going to be starting. At least that's what it looks like. So more to come, a lot to be excited about. I won't do any predictions in this video. I want to wait till preseason before I give you like my record and all that fun stuff. But training camp starts on Tuesday, guys. It's almost here. So that starts there. And then, of course, media day is going to be right there. So, of course, even though Leon Rose just did his video of his confirmed media day, we get the players next week. So I'm curious what questions we're going to ask them and what answers we're going to get. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some surprises. But as of right now, that's it for me, guys. I made this a quick, short video just of what I'm excited about going into the season. And next week I'll be doing a video again on Saturday, just as a recap of what we saw in training camp, because the following week preseason starts. Can't believe it's finally here. We're going to see some Knicks basketball and hopefully some Knicks wins. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend if you haven't yet. Have a great night, guys. Let's go Knicks.